Hello and welcome to another episode of Lasting Legacies. I'm your host, Stephen Gunn, my co-host, Evan Herman.
Hi.
Evan, who do we have today with us?
We have the amazing businessman extraordinaire, Gary Shotton.
Gary.
He has a manufacturing business, a nonprofit called YBT Talks, and he's very passionate in this episode of YBT Talks. I promise you're not going to want to miss this. Stay tuned. Welcome to our latest episode of Lasting Legacies. This is my co-host, Stephen Gunn, and I am Evan Herman. We are here with none other than a good friend of mine, Gary Shotton. Gary, how are you today?
I am fantastic. It's an honor to be with you.
Now, before we actually get into the episode, I just wanted to say, as a real estate agent, Gary was my very first real estate client. He was actually my very first cold call in the business. I saw a for sale by owner sign on some commercial land. I was like, I'm going to take down that number. I called him, and I didn't know what to expect. And he said, I like young guys that seem energetic. And so, Gary, thanks for giving me a shot, and it turned into a great friendship, so I appreciate
And
that.
it turned out well.
It has. It really, really has. Well, Gary, over the past few years, I've got to know you, know your businesses, and know your nonprofits. Our audience don't really know who you are yet. So share with them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, again, thanks for having me. It's an honor. On a real brief summary, farm and ranch kid, loved that. Drove tractor, not a cowboy, just had cattle. Graduated as an engineer, mining and minerals engineer, worked 10 years corporate. Came to Tulsa to go to a particular Bible school. And I'm a family man. Been married, I know it doesn't look like it, 45 years.
Wow.
And, family.
That takes some effort.
Yeah, we won't go into all the details. And then grandpa, of course, 7 grandchildren. Currently I own a manufacturing company for the business side of things.
Awesome.
And so I do love the Lord. I'm openly a solid, committed church guy. Just love that whole concept of what God has for us in our lives.
Now, speaking of things that God has for us in our lives, we each have individual callings. And one of the things that I got to know about you very early on is that you have a very mission-oriented bent, but through business. Explain a little bit about what your organization is.
Well, from an organizational standpoint, for 20-some years, I've worked through, and this is the process. You try something and adjust, and I believe God's leading through all of that, but it wasn't laid out in like all step by step to follow. Right. It was step by step, and so at this time, our efforts are really focused around what we call inspiring better business, which is trademarked, and then also short YBT Talks. And in that, we do videos formatted a bit after the concept of TED.com or TED Talks. TED Talks. So a lot of people are familiar with that. Right. It's very popular. You can go on TED.com. I'm not advertising for them. I just say it's a fact that there's millions of people interested in that. And I said, well, why don't we take that concept and adjust it just a little bit for inspiring better business? So in our format, we have chosen 8 minutes, give or take, as our length, ideal length. And we have filmed some 350 talks on our website, going to 1,000 and then going to 10,000 and going to translations. And with the idea that developing nations and individuals that want to start and own their own business in a godly fashion really need and are seeking some current relevant technology 24/7, anytime you can get it, 8-minute bites in audio and video that would help them progress in their entrepreneurial skills. That's the summary.
Yeah,
okay.
I like that.
That's a very, very awesome thing to have, especially in developing countries, because content or training is key in order for development. And, from what my understanding is within your organization, when you provide those things, it gives you access to a whole spectrum of people, whether it be through spreading the the love of God through teaching people how to be successful and give them opportunities for themselves. You know, like we talked about earlier, you're teaching a man to fish versus giving a man a fish. So,
you know, along that line, this is something we commonly introduce when we travel abroad, that God has created certain laws. You know, some people that don't believe in God call them natural laws, laws of physics and the laws of science. You know, I believe all the laws are God's. And so, and we use the analogy of gravity being a law of physics, something that you drop's going to fall. And amazingly, that happens the same all around the world. No, everybody understands that. And then we say we flew here on an airplane, and amazing that the planes fly the same way all around the world. So we're of a thought that if you get down to the basics, especially at the beginning stages, that the laws of business, God's laws of business, are universal. They are just like gravity. They're past the test of time thousands of years ago, last year, 100 years ago, 100 years from now, if the earth remains as it is, they're going to be the same. The only thing missing in flying an airplane, we didn't know the law. And once we learned the law, we perfected that. So we are not the answer to these people. We're only introducing what we believe ground root laws. If you take basketball or sport, what do you have your youngsters learn? The basics. And if you have even a high-level team and it's not doing well, what do you go? The coach goes back to the basics. So we're not doing like dumbing it down like people can't think. They're very intelligent, but they haven't been taught the basic laws of business. And when they learn that, then they're not dependent on outside funds to keep them afloat. They're not dependent upon someone else. They can take those laws and apply it into different realms of business interest or preparation. Not everyone's going to be a hairdresser. Not everybody's going to be a tailor. Not everybody's going to be a farmer. Not everybody's going to have a transport company. But the laws of business are global, they're universal, and we're on a quest to document those. And I must say on our videos and our teachings, our ultimate goal is 80% of all teachings non-American. So our quest as we travel is to find those people in developing nations within that that will talk, and we have 75 so videos from 8 or 10 different lesson teachers that are from a developing nation, and guess what? Without prompting, they repeat the exact same laws because they're a law. This is not my idea. This is not an American thing. It's a God-given law of business. That's what it is, and that's what we're after.
That's awesome.
We're going to pause right there, and we'll come back for more amazing laws and answers to what God's doing here currently with us, and stay tuned.
It's been said that life is about capturing moments. So I encourage you to capture this moment right here and take a picture of my contact information to reach out to me later. It is most important when you find a real estate agent to find one with the ability to communicate with all involved, knowledgeable about the real estate market, and one's ability to negotiate contracts. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home within the next year, reach out to me. I'd love to see how I can help you reach your goals. Thank you so much.
This program is made possible by the generous support of the Demand Project, a nonprofit organization fighting to eradicate sex trafficking and the sexual exploitation of children. To find out how you can help, please visit thedemandproject.org today.
Could your business or organization benefit from TV advertising? KGEB Tulsa TV 53 broadcasts from the campus of Oral Roberts University and reaches the greater Tulsa metro. Contact us for more info at 918-488-5300.
And we're back with Lasting Legacies. I'm Stephen Gunn, my co-host Evan Herman. Our guest today is Gary Shotton. Glad to have you with us here today. Now, Gary, let's talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned the IBB Talks concept. Talk about kind of maybe over the last 3 years, what was at the heart of why you started that, and then kind of what has grown out of that?
Well, great question, and again, it's happy to be with you. It's not original by me. There's a saying that goes, no matter how thick the pancake, there's two sides. And so awesome. The one side is such a huge pool of people in foreign lands, and of course in America too, that feel frustrated, stuck, and some of them really should own their own business. And so on that side, there's a great need for not academia type, although it's not wrong, I'm a college grad.
Sure.
But what do you do to really get started?
Yeah.
And so I'm passionate about not criticizing the way we've done missions in the past, because I'm not critical.
Right.
But the business person, I think, needs to step up to the plate. And that's what would I do? I need to step up to the plate and provide an alternative. Rather than just send money, let's teach them how to fish. We alluded to that a little bit. Let's teach them how to start their own businesses. So this huge pool of people, they want everything we want in life. We want happy families. We want clothes for our kids. We want them to go to school. Sure. It doesn't matter what country you're in. And guess what? The internet, they're seeing it. Yeah. They see it all. This is something I want. So there's this huge pool. But on the other side of the pancake, if you want to use that analogy, is this growing number of my age and younger and all the YBT people. Sure. That have experience, and we're providing a platform for them to utilize and document their experience in a format that we think is reproducible. And we're working on Swahili as our primary language, so our primary translated language with French following. There's a reason for those two, because we're working a lot in Africa. There's Francophone African countries. There's Swahili, which is not all of Africa. But there's a need for mentors, people. So the second half of what we're doing right now is organizing or encouraging the organization of what we call peer mentoring groups in these foreign countries. This is not a new idea. Jesus had his 12 apostles. That was a peer mentoring group. They figured out a lot on their own. And Jesus said, bye-bye, I'm out of here, and not those terms, but I will send you the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, to help you. Well, we have all that. So basically we're saying, as we're forming groups now, so point two, one is producing quality materials of foundational truth. It's things like start small, grow step by step, quality is important, have a happy customer. These are not high-ranking, scholastic, they're base truth. But on the other side is this need for ongoing mentorship. So I love short-term trips. I've hosted many people on short-term trips. The downfall is that we all had a great time, but we didn't come back for a year and a half. So what do we do in that time period? So basically with technology, our phones, which they have internet, through these groups, peer mentoring clubs, we have 5 or 6 in Congo. They're formed in Congo, and what we do is we organize, I'm soliciting right now from some of the audience, not money, but we need help because we're handing these groups off, and I'll just use you, Stephen, as an example, and you, Evan, is if you chose to take a group, we're asking only for about 30 minutes a week, and we arrange and introduce and get you connected with a group of 12 people, and the call goes like this. It's a Skype or WhatsApp call, and we say, hey, we're here to help you, not take over. We're not going to send money, but we're going to help you with these challenges. We're going to have something prepared in a 10-minute discussion, so we've always got something prepared to encourage them. Don't stop. Keep going. Your ministry has value. A marketplace is one of the brightest lights that you can have in your community. If the rest of the community is poor and have no way out, and through the gospel of Jesus Christ and through the marketplace, you start step by step prospering, guess what? They're coming to your door.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then we ask that you would consider, I'm asking you both, I'm selling right now. I'm in sales. Would you take on a group? And then that group you would call in. There's always a little difficulty, not always, and never take over, never offer to send money, and share as much of your mistakes as your successes, and then answer questions. It's amazing what comes out of that. And you start developing a little friendship with them. It's current technology, folks.
That's great.
This is a cell phone. This is the internet. This is brief. So we're forming those groups, and we're having many groups forming. We got a young guy in Tanzania that he's in colleges and universities forming these groups, and they're sending reports back how this is making a difference. It's not us. We're guiding them and directing. We're not the answer. God is the giver of wisdom. If we want wisdom, we read that all the time. All we are is an avenue as like a big brother helping a little brother or sisters, and we're helping you through some of the issues we had. And we're here, though, on a weekly basis.
Wow, I love that. I think that's key, is the consistency there. So, wonderful. We're going to take a break here from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with some more amazing, amazing content with Gary Shotton. Come right back.
Hi, my name is Matt Moore, president of the Young Businessmen of Tulsa. I pray that this program is a blessing to you and that it inspires you to grow in both your business and personal life. Did you know that many people, both young and old, hold a mentality that their success is all about them, when in reality, we know that our success is dependent on how well we can serve and meet the needs of others. Owning a business is a huge responsibility, and success is very important for not only you, but also your employees and your community. If our community is going to continue to thrive, we need to be proactive in promoting a business community that's focused on being excellent stewards in all areas of life, so we can create lasting legacies. Today, we have a fantastic opportunity in front of us that could really take our city and community to the next level. Each program we air has the potential to reach over 1 million households, but in order to do this, we need to reach an extra $1,600 in monthly reoccurring giving. YBT is looking for two types of partners, those who can pledge $9 a month and those who can pledge $19 a month. Not only will we continue to share our Christ-centered message, but in order to keep with the spirit of YBT, a portion of each monthly pledge that you give will benefit our monthly Pay It Forward projects in order to help give back to our city. If you decide to pledge $19 a month, we will have your name scroll at the bottom of the screen on each program as a proud supporter. Every pledge is a tax-deductible donation. Will you help me make a bigger difference in our city? YBT has a track record of creating better leaders, and we have raised well over $145,000 for community projects since our conception. Join us as a co-producer as we take this message and program across the airwaves. Help us steward a message that will literally change people's lives forever. To make your pledge, please visit www.patreon.com/YBT.
We are back with Lasting Legacies. This is my co-host, Stephen Gunn. I'm Evan Herman, and we're here with the fantastic businessman, Gary Shotton. Gary, in the last segment, you were talking about making differences in people's lives. And one of the things that I want our viewers to know about Young Businessmen of Tulsa, me, Stephen, you, and all of our other guests that we've had, there's this consistent concept of marketplace ministry. People think, oftentimes that ministry only happens in a church. And as someone who wanted to be a pastor, I thought only ministry happened in a church. And then when God put me in business, this whole idea of marketplace ministry was absolutely new to me. And you were my first introduction to marketplace ministry, because with you showed me through different organizations and different groups that surrounded Christian businessmen. And so I say all that to say, from your experience, what advice would you give someone who may not be in vocational ministry, but can minister where they're at?
Well, very good question. My advice overall is find God's plan for your life. And there's all of us, God predestined a plan for us, but unfortunately only a few people actually accomplish that. And if there's one passion that I have, I want to hear those words, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." Right. That I have called you to do, you've accomplished. It's not what I've called you to do. I'm not. So
right.
Finding what God's called is very, very critical. And of course, to find that, you need to grow up spiritually just a bit, because a 5-year-old doesn't handle driving the car very well. So basically, that's step number one. And then recognize, and by the way, what you just said is so common all around the world, that the model that's been given for Christianity is the iconic climb, step by step, to eventually be a pastor.
Right.
That's pretty common. Well, one of the most frustrating things is to see somebody that's not called to be a pastor try to be a pastor. It's not a good sight anywhere you watch.
I'm laughing because that feels so to my journey.
We're here to model that and encourage. Right. And you would be surprised how much revelation that one truth alone in all the talks that we talk. You talk about basic, but that's basic. And it's just reminding people, and there's another scripture, I didn't look it up, but the light that shines, let your light shine before men, so that all men may see. There's a song we all know, let your
this little light of mine.
That's right.
I'm gonna let it shine.
I'm telling you, the gospel of Jesus Christ through the marketplace is where it's at.
Right.
Well, it's easy for me to say that because I'm in there.
Right.
But it really is an unreached, untapped a source. Jesus was a carpenter. Paul was a tent maker. Where are we missing this?
Right.
But the calling of God, in my opinion, is most easily advanced by taking those that are called to do business to step into what God wants them to do. It's a fit. And they develop that step by step by step. I own a machine shop. I have 60 workers right now. I have
amazing machine shop.
I have a payroll of 55,000 up every week. I am not a forefront minister. I'm not a fivefold minister.
Right.
I'm simply called to do business, but everyone that's called in any of their callings in the body of Christ has a responsibility to mentor someone else in that same calling. So a pastor that's not mentoring other young pastors is missing it. An evangelist that's not raising up other young evangelists is missing it. And a business person that's not raising up other young business person is missing it. And we're giving the opportunity now, anybody that's hearing, and I have a little teaching that says wisdom actually is like a glass. God will fill that glass, that cup, that whatever, as full as he can get it, and pretty soon it's going to start overflowing.
Right.
If you want more wisdom from God, you've got to give out what wisdom you have. It's third grade given to a second grade, eighth grade given to a sixth grader. It's not this mounds of wisdom. God has a plan for everyone.
That's right. Good. And we'll be back with our last segment here. Come right back and don't go anywhere.
Are you looking to get married? Suit Connection is having an awesome wedding special. Buy 4 suits or tuxedos at $200 or more and receive free dress shirts and ties. Search for them on Facebook by typing Suit Connection Tulsa or stop by at 61st and Sheridan in Tulsa.
Do you suffer with migraines, seizures, neuropathy, dementia, or movement disorders? Discover an independent concierge neurology practice with treatment from a Christian perspective by Dr. George Gonzalez.
This program is made possible by the generous support of OklahomaBanner.com. Oklahoma Banner is a locally owned company providing custom-designed full-color banners shipped directly to you. They offer a wide variety of banner products. Visit OklahomaBanner.com today.
Hello, we're back with Lasting Legacies. I'm Stephen Gunn, co-host Evan Herman here, and our faithful friend Gary Shotton, amazing businessman in the local area and around the world. Gary, it's been a lot of fun to learn about all what you're doing with your organization, your business. Talk a little bit about what it means to leave a legacy for you, and what that signifies, and then how does somebody do that?
Very good question. I guess my thought is this, is that you don't end at life and then decide how to leave a legacy. Every chapter of your life is creating your legacy. And so at every chapter, you've got to recognize this is my book, this is my life, this is what I'm doing. And so everyone, there's a thought in life that says, maybe a counselor says, hey, make a target and reach it by the end of your life. I didn't approach that way. I made my target to serve God openly in every step I possibly could. Not perfect, I made mistakes.
Right.
And he took me places I never dreamed. I never dreamed I'd own a moving and storage company, moving furniture. I never dreamed I'd own a manufacturing company. I never dreamed I'd be where I'm at. But I am committed, and I recommend that you are creating your legacy right now. And the biggest issue is, can God trust you? Can he trust you with finances? Can he trust you with your life? Can you trust you with your morals, your situations? There's no secrets. And so leaving a legacy is just living a life that you would be proud of at the end of that time period. And again, that you can say, well done, thy good and faithful servant, that you've done I've asked you to do. God could say that, and I've accomplished that. It's never going to be ending. It's ongoing. I met a man, I love it. He's 96 years old. He's going to go with me to Mexico.
Wonderful.
He's still living his legacy.
Oh, man.
We documented his, so we had a video of him.
That's great.
Because he's re-benchmarked my level of old. You
That's
understand?
right, that's right.
Because I'm going for my legacy is never ending, ongoing, and we are wanting to do that. Everybody wants that, but it's not something you do at, kind of look back. You're doing it as you go.
That's good. That's good.
You know, one of the questions that we ask all of our guests at the end is, how can we add value to you? I feel like it's important for our audience to realize that being someone that is a contributor, someone that adds value to others, is very important when it comes to this idea of marketplace ministry. So I normally ask that question, but I already know what you want, because you told us you wanted us to lead a chapter. I will go ahead and do that, because I have some stuff freeing up in my schedule to where I know I can commit to that. Good. I don't know about this guy.
We'll talk more later.
Okay, we'll talk. Everybody's time is valuable.
Yeah.
On that, where could we add value?
Yes, that'd be great.
It's not original by me. It's the bus concept. That there's a bus going down on a path, and we may not even for sure where the bus going. We're leading a ministry like that.
Right.
And the group inside the bus is the ones that help guiding that. And we have people get on the bus and maybe take the right seat in the bus.
Sure.
We're looking for these kind of things. We're looking for mentors, people, and they don't have to be my age. I'm talking about people, young people that have business skills. We're looking for speakers. We're looking for volunteers that are bilingual in Spanish and English, French and English. We're looking for people that would be willing to go on trips with us. We all have that in mind still, and go on trips. So there's website people. We're all a group of a community of volunteers. I don't get paid. I'm funding. We have funding. Of course, if somebody wants to help fund, we're not after money first.
Yeah.
We don't have a big budget. We don't have a big overhead. We're doing this, really, we're applying the same business principles that we're teaching to this ministry. Start small, grow step by step.
Is there a website you can
Oh, yes,
go
of
find
course.
information about that?
Under two URLs. inspiringbetterbusiness.com, just spelled out, and ibbtalks.com. Both are the same website. They both link the same. One's a little easier to remember. One's a little shorter for documentation. But please go there. Please watch what we're doing. Contact us there. We're passionate about this. We got a group of people we're determined to make a difference, not in just the mission world overseas, but here locally.
Everywhere.
Why wouldn't somebody that's stuck in a job, if they're called to own a business, let us be a part of that? And that's by providing the materials to help.
That's good. Awesome. Well, thanks again for tuning in to YBT Presents Lasting Legacies. Our guest today has been Gary Shotton. I'm Stephen Gunn, my co-host Evan Herman. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.